All right, good afternoon. My name is Jeffrey Hawes, and I'm director of the honors program in the College of Arts and Sciences at Creighton University. Welcome to the 2024 round of the honors program's Consider Talks, the fifth iteration of the series. We conceive of these talks as a service to the general public. Those of us who work in universities spend so much of our time nourishing each other intellectually that we often neglect the service we should provide to the public. And although bombarded with information, the public is often starved for knowledge. And those of us in the academy should share conversation at the same table with all who are hungry for knowledge. Today's 4 brief talks are therefore meant to foster conversation at those tables. As a pledge that we take public intellectual conversation seriously, we have worked with 2 very talented undergraduates, a mathematician and a classicist, and 2 of our accomplished alumni, a physician and a prison warden, in the hope that they will discuss their knowledge with the public, not just today, but far into the future. We offer today's talks in the hope that they will foster fruitful conversations on issues in STEM fields, in social science, in the humanities, and in particular, in ethics. Our first speaker today is Ellysia McElroy. Ellysia is a student in classical languages and English, and her talk is entitled Plato and the Wolf.
Hello, everyone. Werewolves. They appear everywhere in pop culture, and we in the modern day are not the first to obsess over a mythical creature that changes between human and wolf. The concept originates in ancient Greece and Rome, where it experienced transformations unrelated to the full moon. While initially werewolves bore the same associations as normal wolves, they later became tests of character against animal instincts for the people afflicted. In order to unpack this, let's first discuss how exactly the Greeks and Romans perceived standard wolves. The primary interaction between these ancient people and wolves occurred through herding. Shepherds would care for their flocks, and wolves would come visit for dinner. This led to the attitude famous from Aesop's fables, where 24 of the 25 wolf appearances include wolves doing trickery or hunting. These animals are scary, they're eyeing you, and they will eat you, or more likely your animals. Interestingly, there are few other interactions between wolves and humans. Unlike with many other large mammals, the Romans didn't capture and transport wolves to fighting arenas. The reason for this is actually a bit sad. It's because they use dogs instead. The 2 types of canines look similar enough, so functionally the only difference is that you can train a dog. No need to expend effort on something that's similar looking but worse behaving. However, humans did hunt wolves, and for 2 reasons. 1, when wolf populations became too aggressive towards shepherds' flocks, the shepherds would hunt and kill the wolves. 2, a type of foot soldier called a welles often wore animal pelts, including that of a wolf. In order for a welles to wear such an accessory, a wolf has got to die. Regardless, these are very much the exceptions that prove the rule. Otherwise, the Greeks and Romans left wolves to their own devices. Now that we understand that the primary interaction between wolves and humans were wolves hunting flocks, we can now talk about how earlier wolf references in antiquity grew out of and came from this relationship. Herodotus' histories, Virgil's eclogues, and Petronius' Satyricon were written from 430 BCE to 65 CE, and all feature cases of humans turning into wolves, as well as wolves hunting shepherds' herds. In the Satyricon, it's the werewolf doing that hunting. Starting in 8 CE, however, we begin to see a new element to the creature's depictions. Ovid's Metamorphoses, Pliny's Natural Histories, and Pausanias' description of Greece all show wolfhood as either a punishment for inhumane behavior or as a test of moral character. For example, both Pliny and Pausanias attest to an Arcadian family's canine tradition. After drawing lots, a member would leave his clothes in a tree, swim through a lake, and transform into a wolf. He would then spend 9 years as a wolf, and if he avoided either beholding or biting people during that time, he could reverse the process and return to society. 2 details stand out about this tale. For one, seeing versus attacking seems like a huge discrepancy, but it makes sense when one remembers the primary interaction between wolves and humans, namely when wolves went after shepherds' herds. The test demands that the werewolf not hurt people or their flocks, and therefore demands that they refrain from the initial stage of hunting, i.e., eyeing. Additionally, note the mention of clothes in the story. As part of both transformations, the werewolf either loses or regains his clothes, representing his humanity, as only people wore clothes. A similar moral judgment is echoed in Ovid's Metamorphoses, as well as a similar tale in Pausanias' description of Greece. This overarching connection between animal-like behavior with a physical transformation is unique to the werewolf in antiquity. Creatures such as centaurs, satyrs, and even the minotaur walk the line between human and animal, but each at every stage traits of its 2 natures combined. Let me say it again. Creatures such as centaurs and satyrs and even the minotaur walk the line between human and animal, but each combines at every stage traits of its 2 natures, rather than switching back and forth like the werewolf does. Because of this consistency, both the rationality and rowdiness of centaurs and satyrs is not a contradiction, it's a harmonized fact. The Minotaur also follows this pattern. He eats whoever enters his maze, no matter at which point in his life you look at. Humans becoming non-human appears everywhere in Greek and Roman mythology, but most lack a similar moral component and the chance to return to humanity akin to the werewolf. Examples include Niobe's turning to stone, Arachne to a spider, and Io to a cow. The flaw leading to Niobe and Arachne's transfigurations is pride, which is a uniquely human trait. Of those 3, only Io becomes human again, yet she was simply collateral for Zeus and Hera's drama, with no test for her to undergo. Only the werewolf's temporary transformation allows for an exploration of what it means to be human versus beast. So, what makes humans so special? I've discussed acting like an animal, but what did that mean to ancient sources? What do humans have that animals don't? According to Plato, we have reason. For some background, Plato is an ancient Greek philosopher who lived from around 429 to 347 BCE. He wrote dialogues where his mentor Socrates and companions would discuss questions about justice and love, and these works are foundational to the field of philosophy. You might know him from his allegory of the cave, though we won't be discussing that today. 2 of his works, The Phaedrus and the Republic, examine the nature of the soul, and these explanations are key to the understanding the ancient werewolf. According to Plato, the soul can be divided into 3 parts: appetite, spirit, and reason. In the Phaedrus, he compares the 3 with 2 winged horses pulling a chariot in order to explain the relationship among them. Appetite is the horse on the left. He's lumbering, and he concerns himself with base desires like food and drink, and also money, because that can be used to buy the former too. The right side horse is spirit, which concerns himself with honor and respect from others, and he's the source of emotion like anger and indignation. Reason holds the reins as the charioteer, directing the entire soul towards truth. In the Republic, Plato then goes on to define a just soul as when reason rules, spirit supports, and appetite submits. If we combine this understanding of the soul together with the werewolf's test of humanity, we find that werewolves are brought about by an unjust soul, aka when either spirit or appetite rules over reason. Earlier, I told you about a family that would draw lots to become a wolf for 9 years, and the individual could only change back if he never attacked a human being. According to Plato's 3-part soul theory, a wolf that failed the trial allowed appetite to rule over reason, as the desire for food overcame their rational thought. Pausanias relates both this werewolf test and the story of King Lycaon. King Lycaon ruled early on in the history of Greece, back when gods walked among mortals and humans were still figuring out how to worship. While the nearby king of Athens offered little cakes to the gods, Lycaon went his own way and sacrificed a baby. Zeus did not appreciate the stunning new strategy, and he transformed the king into a wolf. In this myth, we see someone's spirit, their desire to win the graces of the divine, outweigh reason's knowledge that killing babies is bad and that the gods won't approve. In short, Plato's definition of a just soul provides a valuable framework for what types of behavior are animalistic enough to cause eternal beasthood. Between ancient times and now, werewolves have changed a lot. We've gifted them an affinity for the moon and a weakness to silver, and many have lost the moral test that appears so frequently in antiquity. However, even that trait was added on by later authors, and for a creature defined by transformations, such developments seem fitting. By diving into the origins of a beast so beloved by modern audiences, we learn more about the werewolf. Furthermore, in doing so, though, we learn more about the people who invented them. We hear their stories, read their histories, and study their philosophies. And we keep alive the people who gifted us the werewolf and so much more. Thank you.